Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles. When my wife, Lisa, first brought up the idea of an open marriage, I thought she was joking. We'd been married for 10 years, solid years, I thought. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but who didn't? We were a team. At least, that's what I believed. It started subtly. Little comments slipped into conversations about modern relationships, about couples who had evolved past monogamy. I remember sitting across from her at dinner one night as she casually mentioned a coworker of hers. A guy named Shane, who was in an open relationship. He and his wife are so happy, she said, swirling the wine in her glass. There's no jealousy, no secrecy. It's all about trust and communication. I smiled weakly. That's great for them, I replied, not thinking much of it at the time. But then she kept bringing it up. It wasn't just dinner conversations. It was articles she sent me, podcasts she suggested I listen to, and hypothetical questions about whether I'd ever consider expanding our experiences together. And then one night she just said it. I think we should open our marriage. The words landed like a slap. I stared at her, trying to process. Are you serious? She nodded, her expression oddly serene, like she'd been rehearsing this moment for weeks. I love you, but I feel like we're missing out on something. I don't want to lose what we have. I just want to add to it. I was stunned, blindsided, and, I'll admit it, I was hurt. But I didn't yell, didn't argue. I just sat there, trying to understand the woman in front of me. The woman I had built a life with, who was suddenly telling me that I wasn't enough. I asked her if she'd already been with someone else. She hesitated, and that pause told me everything I needed to know. There's someone you're interested in, I said, my voice cold. She flinched but didn't deny it. It's not like that, she insisted. I haven't done anything. I met someone who made me realize that maybe we've been looking at marriage all wrong. There it was. Shane. I took a deep breath, nodding slowly, pretending to absorb her words. You know what? I said finally. Let's do it. Her eyes widened. She clearly wasn't expecting that. Really? Really? I lied. But I wasn't about to just let her have her cake and eat it too. No, if she wanted an open marriage, she was about to get a reality check. Lisa wasted no time. Within days, she was coming home late, dressing differently, her phone always clutched in her hand. The honeymoon glow I once saw reserved for me, it was now being used on someone else. And me? I played my part. I acted like I was exploring my own freedom. I didn't have another woman. I didn't need one. I just needed her to think I did. I started dressing better, going out more, smiling at my phone like I was texting someone. I came home late on purpose. I even left the house on weekends, letting her wonder where I was and who I was with. It drove her insane. At first, she tried to be subtle about it. She'd ask casual questions. So, did you have fun last night? Oh yeah, I'd say, smirking. It was incredible. Her smile would falter just a little. I started getting text messages at odd hours. Are you coming home soon? Who are you with? Just checking in. I never gave her answers. Then came the night when I finally turned the tables completely. She had just come home from her date, and I could see the guilt starting to creep in. Her shoulders were tense, her smile forced. I could tell she was realizing that this wasn't just fun and games anymore. Lisa, I said, my voice calm but firm. I met someone. Her face paled. Oh, yeah, we've been spending a lot of time together. She swallowed hard. Who is she? I shrugged. Someone who appreciates me. Someone who respects our marriage enough not to ask me to share it. Her eyes welled up. I didn't mean to. But you did. I cut in. You wanted this, remember? An open marriage. A chance to explore. I leaned in, lowering my voice. Tell me something, Lisa. Does it feel good knowing another woman is touching me the way you used to? Does it feel liberating knowing that when you come home, I might still be in another woman's bed? She shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. I don't want this anymore. Too late, I said, standing up. Because I do. Her world crumbled right in front of me. The woman who had so confidently suggested we evolve past monogamy was now drowning in the consequences of her own choices. Lisa begged me to stop. She swore she'd cut things off with Shane. She promised me that we could go back to how things were. But we couldn't, because the moment she asked for an open marriage, she shattered something between us that could never be put back together. I filed for divorce the next morning. And Lisa, she got exactly what she asked for. A taste of what it really meant to lose the one person who had been truly devoted to her. Lisa didn't take the news well. When I handed her the divorce papers, she just stared at them, her fingers trembling. "You don't have to do this," she whispered, as if saying it softly enough would make me reconsider. I leaned against the kitchen counter, watching her unravel. "No, Lisa, I really do." She looked up at me then, her eyes brimming with panic. "But I love you," I laughed, not out of amusement, but out of sheer disbelief. "You love me," I repeated, shaking my head. "Lisa, love doesn't work like this. You don't ask your husband to open the marriage while you're already seeing someone else and call that love." She wiped at her face, smudging her mascara. "I was confused," she insisted. "I thought it was what I wanted, but now I see I was wrong. I don't want anyone else. Just you." I studied her carefully, wondering if even she believed her own words. "You wanted freedom," I reminded her. "You wanted to expand our experiences. Well, here's your chance. You're free now." She let out a desperate, broken sob, her hands reaching for mine. "But I don't want to be free. Her voice cracked. "I didn't think you'd leave me." And that's when it hit me. Lisa never truly believed there would be consequences. She thought she could string me along, keep me in the background while she explored her newfound freedom. She thought I'd wait, that I'd always be there, no matter what. She never expected me to actually leave. That was the reality she couldn't handle. I pulled my hands away, my voice steady. "You did leave me, Lisa. The moment you decided I wasn't enough for you anymore." She fell apart right in front of me. Her knees buckled, and she slid to the floor, sobbing into her hands. I had imagined this moment so many times. Lisa breaking down, realizing what she'd lost. I thought it would feel satisfying, maybe even victorious. But it didn't. It just felt like the final nail in a coffin that had been built the moment she let another man into our marriage. "Please," she whimpered. "Please, don't do this." I picked up the pen from the counter and placed it in front of her. "Sign the papers, Lisa." She didn't move, just sat there, shaking, staring at the document as if the ink on the page had the power to shatter her entire world. "Lisa," I said again, firmer this time. "Sign." She sniffled, her fingers tightening around the pen. I could see the hesitation, the battle raging inside her. But in the end, there was nothing left to fight for. She signed. The moment the pen left the paper, the weight in my chest lifted. It was done. I stood up and took the papers, sliding them into my briefcase. "I'll be moving out at the end of the week," I told her. "But until then, I'd appreciate it if we kept things civil." Lisa didn't say anything. She just curled in on herself, her sobs filling the empty space between us. I walked out of the kitchen, heading to our bedroom for what I already knew would be one of my last nights in this house. And Lisa? She was left with exactly what she asked for, freedom. But not the kind she had envisioned. She had been given a taste of reality. And now she had to live with it. The days that followed were eerily quiet. Lisa barely spoke. She moved around the house like a ghost, her eyes hollow, her once confident posture slouched under the weight of her own choices. I was already making arrangements for my new place, an apartment downtown, close to work. It wasn't much, but it was mine. A clean slate. Lisa, on the other hand, was drowning. She didn't go out. She barely touched her phone. The woman who had once been so eager to explore new experiences now spent her days curled up on the couch, staring at nothing. I'd catch her glancing at me when she thought I wasn't looking. Her expression a mix of regret and desperation. But I didn't give her the satisfaction of a reaction. One night, just a few days before I was set to leave, she finally cracked. I had just come home from work, exhausted, when I found her sitting at the dining table, a bottle of wine half empty in front of her. She was wearing one of my old hoodies, one she used to steal from me when we were happy. She looked up, eyes red and swollen. "I messed everything up," she whispered. I set my keys down, sighing. "Yeah, Lisa, you did." She flinched, like she had been hoping for a different answer. I wasn't thinking straight," she stammered. "I thought this would make us stronger. I thought it would bring excitement back into our lives." I let out a bitter laugh. "Excitement? You wanted excitement, Lisa? You wanted a taste of freedom? Well, congratulations. You got it." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I don't want freedom. I want you." I shook my head, leaning against the counter. "No, Lisa. You wanted to have me while keeping your options open. You wanted to experiment while I stayed the same, loyal and waiting for you to get whatever you needed out of your system." I exhaled sharply. "That's not love. That's selfishness." She wiped at her tears aggressively, like she was trying to erase the damage. "I'll fix this," she said suddenly, a desperate edge to her voice. "I'll cut off Shane. I'll delete his number. We'll go to therapy. We can make this work." I studied her for a long moment. "Lisa, you don't get it. It's not about Shane anymore. It's not about therapy." I shook my head. "It's about the fact that you looked me in the eye, the man who loved you, who built a life with you, and decided I wasn't enough." She whimpered, her fingers digging into the fabric of my hoodie. "I was wrong." "Yeah, you were." Silence stretched between us. She let out a shuddering breath. Do you love me anymore?" I didn't answer right away. Did I still love her? Maybe some part of me did. The part that remembered the good years, the laughter, the way she used to curl into me at night. But love wasn't enough. Love didn't erase betrayal. So instead of giving her hope, I gave her the truth. "I don't think it matters anymore." Her face crumpled. "Please don't leave," she choked out. I clenched my jaw, pushing back the old instinct to comfort her. But that wasn't my job anymore. I stepped forward, pressing a hand against the table, looking her straight in the eyes. "You wanted to open our marriage, Lisa. You opened it so wide that it broke. And now there's nothing left to fix." Her sobs filled the space between us, but I didn't stay to listen. I turned and walked to our bedroom, the bedroom that, in just a few days, would no longer be mine. And Lisa? She stayed at the table, drowning in the consequences of her own choices. The day I left felt surreal. I had packed most of my things the night before, loading up my car in silence while Lisa sat on the couch, watching me with hollow eyes. She didn't beg anymore. She didn't plead. It was like she had finally accepted that this was happening. Still, when I grabbed my last bag and walked to the door, she whispered, "Are you really never coming back?" I turned to look at her one last time. "This was your choice, Lisa," I said simply. "You wanted something different. Now you have it." She squeezed her eyes shut, like she wanted to block out my words. Goodbye, Lisa." And then I walked out. I moved into my apartment that night. It wasn't home yet, but it was mine. The silence felt different here. Not like the tense, heavy quiet of my old house, but a peaceful kind of solitude. I didn't regret leaving. But Lisa, she fell apart. I heard about it through mutual friends. At first, she tried to act like she was okay, like she was adjusting to her new freedom. But it didn't take long for the cracks to show. She tried to call me. I ignored her. She texted. I didn't respond. And then, 2 weeks later, I got a message from an unknown number. "Shane. Hey man, you might want to check in on Lisa. She's not doing great." I stared at the message, debating whether to reply. But I didn't have to, because a few days later, I ran into one of Lisa's close friends, Megan, at a coffee shop. She sighed the moment she saw me. "She's a mess, you know." I took a sip of my coffee. "Not my problem anymore." Megan gave me a hard look. "She hasn't been eating. She barely leaves the house. And Shane." She let out a dry laugh. "Turns out he wasn't looking for anything serious. He dropped her the second things got complicated." I blinked. "Wait. He dumped her?" "Oh yeah," Megan scoffed. She thought they had some deep connection, but to him, she was just another married woman looking for a thrill. The second you actually left, and she tried to lean on him, he ghosted her. I should have felt bad. But honestly, I didn't. Lisa threw away a marriage for a fantasy. She thought she could have it all, me as her safety net, Shane as her excitement. She thought she was in control. But now, she was completely, utterly alone. I didn't respond to Megan's words. I just nodded, finished my coffee, and left. A week later, Lisa sent me an email. The subject line? I'm sorry. I didn't open it. Because some mistakes can't be undone. And Lisa, she got exactly what she asked for. She wanted an open marriage. Now she had an empty one. And me, I had moved on. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.